62, and I mean, you sweat, but it's not drowning. Well, howdy.
Mr. Mayor.
All right. A minute. Right, it is 6 o'clock, and we will start the meeting. Give the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've had the opportunity to see the agenda. We need to approve that.
I would like to call point of order. There are some errors in the agenda I did pass out. Public input probably should be before you do any new council or appointments.
No.
Yeah, a non-council member will not call a point of order.
Okay, I was just pointing out an error.
Well, I was also thinking that we should probably move the point 3 under the second half of the agenda until after public input. So with that, I move to move point 3 of the second half of the agenda, Ward 3, vacancy interview candidate, to be after point 5 of the second half of the agenda, public input.
Can you say that one more time?
I move to have point 3 of the second half of the agenda, which is titled Ward 3 vacancy interview candidate, to be after point 5 of the second half of the agenda, which is titled public input. Does that make sense? Sorry, there's two different point 3 and point 5.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I should also clarify that I'm using that double line in the middle of the first page to be my first half and second half.
Right.
Although they're not actually half.
So under open new council, point 3, he is suggesting we move point 3 to after point 5 on the second page, right before department updates.
second? It's the tablets.
Oh, it's the tablet, okay.
Okay, so on my document, I have, we move to, or the modification to move point number 3 in the second half to point 5A. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. And Melissa, you second that? So, armed with those changes, are there any other changes that you can see?
I would point out that we might have a candidate for the Ward 2 position vacancies.
So I think we can probably just vote on this issue, and then if we have another one,
Okay? Let's move, yeah, let's vote on the motion on the floor. So, Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
I,
Okay.
although now I'm wondering that if we're going to do that, see that there's a motion here to possibly appoint somebody, so then do we need to move 4? Because you're not going to want to appoint someone to be your council president if you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was thinking the same thing. I'd make a motion that we move item 4 in the second half of the agenda to 5B.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion was made by Dave and seconded by Darla to move point 4, elect council president / vice president to 5B, which would be after the 5A that was just moved and approved. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
I,
Okay? Approved.
Mr. Mayor, tonight when I come here, I have a letter at my desk from an applicant for the Ward 2 alderman position. Is there something we should change in the number 2 mayor appointment of a Ward 2 alderman to interview that candidate, or is that not permissible tonight?
Well, I mean, can we interview anybody?
Yeah. Should be able to interview anybody.
So, under number 3 on the new council, I mean, anybody that steps forward should be,
Okay?
and also, I don't think, and Sam, I know you and I talked about this earlier today, I don't think the wording on D and E is correct.
May I make
Go ahead.
a few points, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So, I got a chance to talk with Pat on this, and it's just she just has it as an either or because we didn't know exactly how this might go. I would suggest that if David Larsen is willing to be reappointed for Ward 2, that could be considered. Under statute, Marcus Ireland would be able to continue. Marcus Ireland's seat would technically be vacant, but statute allows him to act in the case of a vacancy until a new appointment is made. So Councilman Ireland would be able to vote to reappoint David Larsen, and then the council would be considering whether or not they wanted to place, I think it's Mr. Brian S. Johnson as the gentleman from Ward 2. Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are not seeking reappointment to the council if there's somebody to fill the seat. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay. So does that make sense to everyone procedurally how that would go? Marcus would be entitled to act, to vote on any replacement but his own, I guess, is the shortest way to say that,
That
Mr. Mayor.
makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, well, armed with all of that, we need an approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Melissa and approved by, or second by Darla to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any other discussion right now? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
Okay. You've seen the minutes of April 5th and April 19th meetings. And if so, I need a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 5 and April 19 council meetings.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Dave and seconded by Linda to approve the April 5th and April 19th council meeting minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
All right. You've seen the warrants. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, maybe I didn't get the right packet or didn't get a packet but there wasn't a check for Visions Construction this month.
I never got the bill.
Okay. If we don't get a bill, we don't need to pay it. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the warrants.
Second.
All right. Motion was made by Dave and seconded by Melissa to approve the warrants for the month. Any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
All right, we need to adjourn the old council.
I move to adjourn the council.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Melissa, seconded by Darla to adjourn the old council. Any discussion? Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa? Melissa, once again, we thank you for your service.
Marcus, thank you. Even though I think you're still on for a few minutes here.
For a little bit. Kind of quiet.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. It's got a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
All right, so at 6:12 PM, we adjourned the old council. And at 6:14 PM, we opened the new council. And we have to start with the oaths of office and appointments. Cindy, if you come and take a place, I'd appreciate it. Right. So, I have to administer this.
Unless you want me to, it's up to you. You do. Okay. Cindy, go ahead and stand up and raise your right hand. And repeat after me, okay? I, Cindy Peoples,
I, Cindy
do
People,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of alderman
the duties of alderman
in and for Ward 1
in and for Ward 1
in the city of Alcester,
in the city of Alcester,
Union County, South Dakota,
Union County, South Dakota,
to which office I have been duly elected.
to which office I have been duly elected.
Go ahead and sign it. I will notarize. The next one is you, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Okay. I, Daniel Hayter,
I, Daniel Hayter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of South Dakota.
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of mayor
in and for the city of
in
Alcester,
and for the city of Alcester,
Union County, South Dakota,
in County, South Dakota,
to which office
to which office
I have been duly elected.
I have been duly elected.
Do we have any more?
No, we have appointments, right? So, how do we deal with appointments for, do we just appoint Dave and Marcus and then go on?
So, I think if, what I would suggest is if there's a motion made to appoint David Larsen to the council, all other seated council members, including Marcus Ireland, who is acting pursuant to 913-14.3, would vote on that. And then if you wanted to have your candidate interviews to determine, or speak with Mr. Johnson and any other candidates, you would just simply strike E, and then you could interview Ward 2 and Ward 3 candidates. That make sense, Mr. Mayor?
Yep, so Marcus would act right now
Correct.
because he is current.
Correct.
All right. Well, I guess the way to look at this is we are going to look at a mayoral appointment for David Larsen for Ward 2 alderman, excuse me. And we would need a motion to approve that appointment until the next election or until the vacancy is filled.
I will make a motion to approve appointment of Dave Larsen, Ward 2 alderman, until the next election or until vacancy is filled.
I think it just needs to be till the next election.
Till the next election?
Till you're filling the vacancy.
So
Because-
motion to approve the appointment of Dave Larsen, Ward 2 alderman, until the next election.
Understood.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Darla and seconded by Linda to approve appointment of David Larsen to Ward 2 alderman until the next election. Any further discussion at all? So, Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
I was gonna say Dave. How about Marcus
Aye.
and Darla
Aye.
and Cindy?
Aye.
Or I. So, Dave, if you would, please.
Just remember, I gave you a chance. I need oath.
Yeah, I suppose we could swear you in, Dave, and then we'll get you one to sign. This one's blank, so. I, David Larsen,
I, David Larsen,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of South Dakota,
of the State of South Dakota,
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of alderman
the duties of alderman
in and for Ward, are you 3 or 2? 2, in for Ward 2,
and for Ward 2
until the next election date
until the next election date
for the city of Alcester,
for the city of Alcester,
Union County, South Dakota,
Union County, South Dakota,
to which office I have been duly appointed.
to which office I have been duly appointed.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so do we appoint Marcus and then go on with?
The council could appoint him, Mr. Mayor, but my understanding based off Marcus's statement that he was only going to continue to act in the absence of a candidate is that it would probably be best to interview Mr. Brian S. Johnson and any other candidates. I believe Ms. Larsen has announced she intends to be considered to fill the vacancy. And then determine whether you want to appoint Mr. Ireland. I believe that it's his intention to stand aside. So he would not vote to fill his own replacement, I don't believe.
Understood, but number 3 said Ward 3, it's actually Ward 2/3 vacancy?
I think it is now, yes.
But Mr. Mayor, you were gonna do public input next.
Oh, that's right. right, we will move on to item 5, public input.
I have public input, just a couple questions and concerns.
One second. Can I be positioned so I can hear the public better?
Hang on. Yep,
Sorry about that, guys.
that's all right.
Takes a while to move a pedestal.
Okay.
Thank you.
On here, the input, I had a question on the input, that's been resolved. Also, the Alcester Community Building, the $75,000, I've already had an answer for that. Okay. One thing I did notice, thank you, Sam, on learning the laws, background checks for employees of the city. This would probably be a good idea going forward, because I don't think that's done right now, for the employees as well as council members. I did have on the HSA, which is the health, thank you, the health thing. As I was reading through the information on that, we may want to set up for direct deposits, because this kind of involves with that. It's an accounting thing, and it the way I understood it, provided a safety net. The other thing is was there a reason, given the amount, that the wheel loader, the repairs for the wheel loader were not put out for bid? That's a fairly high number, and when I look back at things that need to go for bid, again, in those documentations that I was looking at, that certain amounts, anything over certain amounts should be let for bid. I think your father or a partner dealt with that on the water tower painting. This may come into that same category, and since it was such a high dollar amount, perhaps maybe it would have been wiser to go out for quotes, or bids, I'm sorry. And I think that's everything I had.
Sam, what's the dollar amount for bid
Sure.
requirement?
Ms. Larsen, the dollar amount you're talking about is with respect to public improvements. That was at $50,000, and you may recall we had an entity that came and tried to tell us that we could essentially do what I termed an installing contract that would get the city's the sum total of the services and improvement provided would be over $50,000, so we felt it violated the public improvements statute, and I can't remember the statute off the top of my head. That amount has since been raised to $100,000. So for example, if we needed to bid seal coating for the streets, we now are able to go up to $100,000 on a contract before we have to open that up to the bid process. I don't know the statutory amount for repairs and services on certain items off the top of my head. I believe it's $25,000, but I will look and get back to you if you'd like me to.
The documentation I saw, it bounced anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000. That's why I asked the question, and it was in the Title IX information.
Do you happen to have a statute number for me?
No, I don't. Not on that one. And that information was from the South Dakota legislative thing, and that was in the, like I said, Title IX, because I skimmed that document, which is a long one, but it was interesting.
It's a whole title. I don't, nothing that I saw when we did this, or excuse me, when we decided we needed to repair it or pay for it, led me to believe that it would fall under a statutory citation that would require us to bid that. I don't know how common that is, but now that you've raised it, I'll certainly look and let the mayor and council know if I find anything that we should be concerned about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment.
Yes.
The wheel loader is something we use quite regularly. If we would have put that out for bid, it would have made fixing that which was as I understand, a week-long project. It would have held that back another 2 weeks at least until we could have had a vote on the bid or open the bids. So I think that would be something that would be classed as an emergency, and since it was only less than the $100,000 amount, I didn't think it was necessary as a council person to put that out for bids.
If I may comment, this,
I think that's a valid point, especially considering the fact that I think we had to pay outside sources to move snow as a result of the wheel loader being down. So I agree. So-
if I may respond to
No,
the
I'm
reading that
sorry.
I had,
I'm sorry.
that emergencies,
Public input is over.
Well,
excuse me?
there might be more public input.
I would like to
Okay.
say something.
Well, I thought you were done with public input. Excuse me. What do you have?
I was just saying there were contingencies for emergencies in that same quote, but this was repair, not for asset, or,
The unit failed
that-
and needed repair.
yes, and that created emergency.
Yeah. Is there any other public input? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I came tonight to talk to the council in regards to, my wife and I have the intention to build a new house here in Sioux Falls, here in town. Sorry, I've got Sioux Falls on the brain because I work up there, but after some discussion with some other people, I know there's concerns with the purchase going forward of multiple lots and building one structure on 2 lots up on Beck Drive. And I know that the concern is, you know, the future of for other shells type buildings. I can assure you that that's not our intention. Our intention is to build a traditional ranch style home. And it's the house that we want to build is our dream home, and we want to continue to live in Alcester throughout the rest of our lives. And thinking ahead of time, because of my injuries in Iraq, we want to do everything on one level, so it's going to be, you know, a larger house that would not fit on one of the lots. So my hope is that either, I don't know if it's the council's decision or if it's the HRC's decision going forward, to be allowed to purchase 2 of those lots. It'd be either end of this year or early in the spring, with the hope, if prices return from the skyrocket that they've gone to, that we could break ground and build in the spring.
That's a wonderful idea, Dave. And I think it's wise that you come forward and talk to the entire city of Alcester on tape to say it's not a shouse, even though people are concerned that shouses are driving down their property value, but at the same time they're concerned that their property value keeps going up and they have to pay more taxes. So it's kind of a in-between thing here. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I've seen a little bit of the pictures and it looks good. I mean, we'll talk. Linda is one of the HRC members, and so am I, and we'll talk at our next meeting, and we'll talk about, I assume, just selling the lots to you. You said this next fall.
Yeah, it'd be sometime December, January timeframe is when we're looking at purchasing. It'd be, I think it's 10 and 11, not the 2 big in the corner, but the one big to the east and then the one next to that.
10 and 11, I think so.
I think that's what it was. So, because our thought was that would allow for somebody in the future, that number 9 was the biggest lot there. So that would give them the opportunity to still have, you know, a big property up there.
Right on the corner.
Correct.
Yep.
And to give you an idea why we're looking at 2 lots, is it's gonna be about a 3,000 square foot house, so it's gonna be, you know, because we're doing everything on 1 lot, it'll be stretched out quite a bit, so. That's all I have.
What's your name, sir?
Thank you.
Sounds very
What's that?
What's your name, sir?
Dave Hodson.
Okay.
All right, is there any other public input?
Yes, my name is Melissa Kai. I'm a concerned citizen living in Ward Number 1. I don't know if we've ever met, but hello. First of all, Chief Christie gave me this, so I'm taking it. Is there any objection? Because I don't want to be charged with petty theft. Is that cool? Okay. The next thing is concerning what is now, what is it, 4 or 5A, I think is what we changed it to, the Ward 3 vacancy. I know, Mr. Mayor, you and I have had a discussion about this. I think, Linda, I think you and I have talked about it. Marcus, you and I have talked about it. It's kind of a tough position having to appoint someone when that person is the husband of your finance officer. And now it sounds like the competitor going against him is someone that used to serve on the council and was expelled for misconduct. I'm not saying that you should or should not do something, but just as a recommendation, I think this sounds like a perfect opportunity to do a special election.
Okay, is there any other public input?
Well, I have one because I have somebody that keeps calling me. About when they can make appointments for the community center and how much it's gonna cost. If it's gonna cost the same for a small group as a large group. And all I said to her is, I don't know yet. Has there been, did they contact you?
People
What?
are contacting us to tentatively reserve dates.
Okay,
So we are putting them on the calendar. If it's 2021, it's a little bit sketchy as to our opening date.
yeah, it is.
So tentatively, they're shooting for August 1st, but it all depends on construction. As far as rates go, that is something that we will be addressing, but it hasn't been done yet. So like I said, we're taking the names and putting the dates down, and then once the forms and everything has been established, then we will go back and visit with those people.
Yeah, I think both, this person wants 2 dates, and they're both in August.
Okay, that's gonna be tight.
That's close, yeah.
But we have a construction meeting tomorrow, and we'll get updated as to,
And then they also said, well, will there be catering available? And I kind of outstepped back and I said, I doubt this year. I said I'd maybe have a backup.
well, it depends how many people.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're talking a smaller group, like,
one is a class reunion,
okay,
that I know,
So like-
and one is a family reunion. So that's, and I don't think either one is real large because they're getting older and I don't
we
think
do,
there's that
we
many
do
left.
catering now in our current clubhouse.
Okay.
We meet with the people, we decide on the menu, we tell people our options, what we can do, and if that's in their realm of what they want,
So I could give her your number.
yeah.
Okay, I'll just do that. Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, I just have something briefly.
All right,
Melissa, I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from. You know, I get the genesis of the idea. Unfortunately for Alcester, at least on my review of our ordinances, we don't have an ordinance that allows for a special election. And SDCL 91314.2 says that we may, by ordinance enacted prior to a vacancy, require that a vacancy on the governing body or the office of mayor be filled by a special election. And so we don't have an ordinance requiring it. An ordinance requiring it would have to have been enacted prior to seats we're trying to fill. So I think that's.
Well, they haven't been filled yet. I mean, you can still do it.
Prior to the vacancy.
Oh,
Not
prior to
prior to
the
filling,
vacancy.
but prior to the vacancy being created. So at least my read of the statute is that the vacancies exist now. And so the ordinance would have had to have been enacted prior to the vacancy existing in order to require the special election. I could be wrong, but that's at least how I read it.
Well, is there any other public input regarding any of those topics?
Sorry, did you call for another public input?
No, well, I asked if there was more. Do you have some?
Yeah, I did have, sorry, I was like waiting, but I can see if other people are ready to say something, so I'm just like, I'll be returned patiently, and then I don't know. I did have one comment I wanted to say for public input, especially since I might not be here much longer. I wanted to thank the city office and the, for helping get the, or I guess, I don't know if the city office really did anything, but I'm gonna thank them anyway for getting the, wreath taken down in the park. I heard from some residents that they have finally been taken down, and so I appreciate that, especially after having had a constituent about Booster come forward and say that we're not taking pride in our city. It's nice to see that we are taking down our Christmas in the beginning of summer. So I just wanted to highlight that.
As a matter of fact, we talked about that at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and they approved removing them. So that was good input.
So that's a.
Yeah, and I would just say, kind of off of that, and off of the previous, I guess last meeting, public input, the lack of pride issue, I would just say that if we aren't willing to take them down in a timely manner, then we probably shouldn't be putting them up in the first place, just because it does become something that people do notice. And we don't want to portray that we don't have pride and are willing to keep up the appearances going into the future. So not that I say we should do it. We should do it and take them down. But if we're not going to take them down, then we should consider not doing it.
Understood. One of the other things he brought up was the manure spreader on Highway 11. And I don't know the best way to deal with that, but that's a valid point. I mean, how many cities have a manure spreader welcoming their people coming into town? So,
Mr. Mayor, does the street department have any road closed signage?
or yeah, some kind of.
Do we want to put that on private property?
If he would allow it, and allow the manure spreader to be moved,
That probably would be better. I mean, I understand what you're saying,
he'd
but
have to allow it and improve it, but maybe he's interested.
well, it was brought up, and I think we should at least touch base with it and see. All right, is there any other public input? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 3, Ward 3/2, vacancy and interviewing candidates. So I don't know how we want to do this.
Just do one executive session and then interview all of them.
All right. And we would need to move into executive session then.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead, Marcus.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Sorry, I wanted to ask if, when we go into executive session, are we gonna do all of our alderman interviews in a row?
Yes.
And then come out and vote on them all in a row? Because I was just thinking if we're going to replace me, then like doing that one and then doing the other, so that way the other, like the new me, can do them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
What do you
And I'm
think?
willing to do that regardless, but I was just thinking,
You still have a quorum.
I guess we have a quorum regardless, so we could just do it all at once.
okay.
Any other discussion? Dave, you made the motion.
I make a motion, we enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-1 to interview alderman candidates.
I'll second that.
Dave made the motion and Linda seconded to move into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-1, Alderman interview. And Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
I
And Darla?
Aye.
I gotta keep looking up. Cindy?
Aye.
All right, 5 yes. 6:44 PM. We are in executive session. All right. It is 7:53 PM. And we are out of executive session. And we had 3 interviews. So we have 2 different appointments that we could look at. One is for Ward 3 Alderman until next election. One is for Ward 2 Alderman until next election. Does anybody want to put forth a motion?
Which one are you looking for? Well, 2 or 3
Well,
first?
actually, whichever or both that,
I think, just as a point, if we're going to make a motion for the Ward 3, we should do that one first.
Okay.
okay. So we'll deal with Ward 3 Alderman until next election. Is there a motion to appoint anyone for Ward 3 Alderman until the next election? One more time. Any motion? Hearing none. Is there a motion to appoint anyone for Ward 2 Alderman until next election?
I will make a motion to appoint Brian Johnson for Ward 2 Alderman until the next election.
I'll second it.
Motion was made to appoint Brian Johnson for Ward 2 Alderman until the next election by Linda, seconded by Darla. Any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
I have to abstain.
All right, understood. Darla?
Aye.
And Cindy?
Aye.
4 yes. 1 abstained. Brian Johnson is appointed as alderman for Ward 2.
Thanks to all the people that,
Do you want him to sit up here?
Yes.
Okay.
thanks to all the people that put their name in for an appointment.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Brian, if you'd come up and sit there, I would appreciate it. And Sam will administer the oath of office.
Brian, stand up, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Brian Johnson, do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of South Dakota,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of alderman
the duties of alderman
in and for Ward 2
and in Ward 2
until the next election date
until the next election day
for the city of Alcester,
for the city of Alcester,
Union County, South Dakota,
Union County, South
to
Dakota,
which office I have been duly appointed.
which office I have been duly appointed.
Date here and sign here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Sam. All right, we will move on to item 4, electing city council president and vice president. I open the floor to motions for, I guess, council president.
I'd make a motion to elect Dave Larsen as council president.
I'll second that.
So, Ms. Meyer, do you want to discharge Marcus?
Oh. Marcus.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't even think about the fact that I should actually discharge you as alderman, and with our thanks for all of your service. It was very much appreciated.
Well, thank you very much. I was going to stay on the call up until you guys chose to go into another executive session. Then I would have said, guys, I am still here. Please let me go. But thank you so much, everybody, for letting me have that experience with you guys.
Thanks.
Thank
you
you.
for your work. And I so you must be really bored if this is the most important thing you can do.
I think he
You
wants
are
to.
correct. I'm kidding. This is very exciting. I actually really love meetings, so congratulations to everybody who continued.
See you later, Marcus.
Okay, well,
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Yep, bye.
we have a motion on the floor to elect Dave Larsen as council president. Motion was made by Darla and seconded by Linda. Any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Abstain.
Darla?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And Cindy?
Aye.
4 yes, 1 abstain. Dave Larsen is council president. And now we would elect the council vice president. I'm looking for nominations or a nomination.
I make a motion to elect Linda Talbot as council vice president.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded, made by Darla and seconded by Dave to elect Linda Talbot as council vice president. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
I'm gonna abstain.
Dave?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Cindy?
Aye.
4 yes, 1 abstained. Linda, you are the council vice president. Congratulations to both of you. And we'll move on to item number 6, I believe. We jumped over. Yep. 5, water, wastewater updates.
So, the only thing that I have on that is, Sam, do you have an update on where we are with negotiations on the contract?
I have some language that our insurance company wants to see in the contract. I've gone through with them, and I've got a number of changes for, who is it, Banner. And so those are gonna be brought to Banner this week, and I hope to have some input from Tanya later this week. I'll let Pat and Mayor know, or I'll let you know.
Only speaking from kind of a selfish side, there are a bunch of flags in my property, and I think they all were put there to let them know what they had to be aware of when they dug in the new sewer and water. So I'm assuming that all those flags could come off my property now. Good. That's good news. I'll know. Okay. Then we'll move on to street updates. I guess I did talk with Lonnie a little bit about potholes. And of course, his point originally over the last couple of weeks was that the temperature was so cool that they couldn't put mix down, so they really couldn't fill potholes permanently. Can you fill a pothole permanently? I don't even know if you can, but anyway. So the point he made was we have to wait till it warms up more. Now it's coming, so I think that will improve. But, and then of course, obviously, we're gonna have some street maintenance done as a result of all of the under street work, infrastructure that's underneath the street, so. I don't know of anything else for the street. How about the swimming pool?
Lonnie is working on that. There's some repairs needed to the pump house. One thing he said we probably should maybe look at in the near future is having somebody evaluate the health of that pump house. He did talk about maybe at the end of this pool season, we'd have MC in our pool come down and just make sure the fittings and everything are looking good. He's concerned about one pipe in particular. His goal, the pool has been drained and cleaned, and he's hoping to fill it around the 15th of May with a June 1st opening.
Do they have the chlorine supply?
He's going to order that.
I've picked up something on the news feed that chlorine is gonna be in short supply this year. Seems like there's a pandemic going on. everybody needed a pool.
Yeah. Well, so we do have the chief here. Sorry, chief, I didn't even see you there. You were hiding behind Wanda.
I'm doing my job then. No.
Incognito.
I don't have much. I have stats for you. It's been busy. I went to Chiefs Conference out in Deadwood. That was great. I appreciate the opportunity to go out there, and I was really touched on. A big section of it was the marijuana laws that are coming down the pipe, and that's going to turn our world upside down. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but that medical marijuana, the one law that we voted on as the public is the main law, but there's like 89 subsections underneath that thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in it.
It is all inclusive, and it's really gonna turn our world around as far as law enforcement, just to stay on the right side of it. I don't know the council's thoughts, I just kinda wanted to throw this out there. We do get approached probably maybe once a month conservatively about stop sign violations at 302 and 11. That is within our jurisdiction per statute. It is not within city limits, as you know. So 302 and 11, stop sign on the south end of town. We get approached by that all the time, concerns that people are running it. We recently had an accident out there. Luckily, it was not too bad of injuries or anything like that. Just wanted to throw it out there. In the past, I know law enforcement from Alcester had sat out there, and it kind of almost turned a kind of a black eye for the steakhouse, or I don't know the feelings, Dave, maybe you were on for that, maybe Pat.
Yeah, there were some people that thought that was kind of a radar stop or
I think people generally think it's part of town, and that's why we get approached about it. So, just maybe wanted to grab your guys' opinion a little bit on it, if nobody has any opinion. Why, once in a while, we swing out there at the steakhouse and take a look, and maybe wait 5 minutes for the next stop sign violation and stop somebody. That's no joke. It can be that quick. It's unbelievable how many people run that stop sign. So, just wanted,
Can I ask a question, Chief?
yes, sir.
Extra patrol, the 5 or 6 thing now, what's involved in an extra patrol?
Yeah.
Is that just overtime for you guys?
No, that's not overtime. That's actually once in a while when we're going to the school. Sometimes we'll go out and actually physically get out of the car at school, and if we do that, hey, we'll be out on extra patrol at the school or make contact with a few people. More of a kind of a be visible thing and be out in public more. I know COVID is bad still, or whatever the case is with all the masks, but it would just be those times where like we go to the school and we want to make a number to get out of the car and visit with some people.
So do you do any of those kind of things, rattle doors, and make sure everything's locked up downtown?
I do, yeah, I do that, and people pull up, and it's been a long time since we've seen somebody walk the beat, yeah. So I do rattle doors on the bank and the other businesses, and sometimes the alleys, and people look at me weird, but I feel like it's a good thing to do too.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, other than that, I didn't have much.
Thank
Chief,
you.
oh, yeah.
How about the desk surplus?
Yeah, I did run into a pretty cheap deal for a few $100s. I got an interview table that you can actually write on. And so we got an interview table, a couple of chairs at the PD, and a new desk for Austin. And I think the total is gonna be like $200 to $300 for those few items. So we did have Austin's old desk. It's pretty rough, but it wasn't rough enough where we just dumpstered it. So we thought we'd throw it on for, well, Pat's idea was to,
And we do have somebody, after you surplus it tonight, it has a home.
Interest? Yeah.
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 So we're actually asking the council to move to surplus the desk. Do we have a
So
motion?
are we selling it on Marketplace?
Well, that was my intent. I was going to sell it on Marketplace, but I had someone come in the office today and, Wanda and I had talked about a price of $25 for it, and they said yes. So,
I'm on board.
Basically, skipping the words Alcester Marketplace, how about no longer fulfilling the purpose intending selling? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve surplus of the desk as it no longer fulfills the purpose intended. Selling.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
you don't have to do roll call anymore if you don't want to.
Oh,
no.
hey,
That's right, yeah.
you know, we're all here.
Yeah. That's
Unless
good.
you want to.
No, that's great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
That's sweet. All right, letter F, Pleasant Hill Cemetery / landfill update.
I don't have any updates at this time.
Yeah, I don't. I talked to Parker the other day when I went out there, but that seemed like situation normal, so how about if we move to golf course, excuse me, golf course updates?
Can I go back to the cemetery one?
Yes.
If there's a hole, like, well, I'm just speaking from our own family, and we're gonna be having a funeral, and the ground is caved in, can we as a family go up on that hill and get some dirt and put in it? Or should we kind
When
of,
you
how does
say,
that usually, you
when
know,
you say a
it's,
hole, what kind of hole are you
well, I
talking?
think it's from just erosion that
Just
creatures-
settling.
Maybe creatures, you
Yeah,
know, so.
well-
And I noticed some others around that.
Probably the bones cave.
Well, it's been there a while. It's kind of like it's dry and, I don't know.
The dirt that's up there is available for use, but just so you know that that is a clay type dirt, so it may not be the best for growing.
And I know
grass,
somebody
but-
else approached me on it and they brought their own dirt up there and did their own.
Mhm.
Because that one had collapsed in. So I didn't know what we should tell them.
If you want, if you let me know what stone it's by,
Okay.
Parker would be happy to, do whatever
Okay.
needs to be done.
Because some other people.
Part of the perpetual care.
And we
Yeah.
can make sure that the top few inches is actually topsoil or really
Because
good black
they'll
dirt.
be digging our other part shortly. So,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't want anybody to fall in that hole
All right.
at that time. So
You can either let me know or Parker know whose stone it's by.
it's Doug's dad,
Oh, okay,
because we're gonna be burying his mom.
okay,
So,
okay.
So, before we go on to golf course, any other cemetery or landfill? All right, then we're going to letter G.
Might want to take note of the at-a-glance financial there. April, the golf course actually made money. That doesn't happen very often, so take note of that. And the other thing that's there is this flyer. We've been approached by the people at 106.3 and a couple other stations that.
I didn't put it in there.
Oh, okay.
I sent it out, but I didn't.
Okay.
Right.
The deal with that is, I'm just wondering if we should be advertising Vermillion, Yankton area. And it's really not gonna cost us any money, it's gonna cost us merchandise. We have to give them or donate them 20 $50 packages of golfing and food or beverage or whatever. And they have an auction show or a call-in show, and during that time, they would be advertising our golf course. And
Which in turn
might
will
bring,
advertise our community center.
Absolutely.
eventually, yes. Yeah, the guy said, he said, we can make several different announcements as the year, we go through the thing, depending on what's happening. So I guess I thought maybe I just asked to see if everybody thought that was a good idea that we do that.
So how many spots did you say?
Well, like I said, we will donate 20 $50 packages, and then we'll receive $1,250 in advertising. And advertising rates are $17 for a 30-second ad on, well, there's one or two or all three radio stations. So I would think, $1,250 at $17 a second, 30-second ad, there'd be quite a few times when our name would be mentioned out there. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out some way to get more people to come and be part of our golfing experience. So, and I don't know if we need a motion, since we're not really expending any money, we're just donating prizes. It's up to you, Mayor.
Well, I don't necessarily see the need for the motion, but I think it is wise because of the upcoming community center / golf course, steakhouse, whatever. I think it's a good idea to get the word out. We're here.
We have a deadline of May 14th, so I'll make sure that gets done. Unless someone has a
I think it's a good idea.
conflict with that.
Anybody opposed to that? Okay.
The day I was driving a lot with my job, and there was it might have been, I listened to the Yankton channel, and they had someone talking about golf courses and how much better they do when the building that, like the community center, is with the golf course. Because people who rent them like the view.
Oh, sure.
Versus ones that, and we were at a funeral the other day in a community center, there was not a window, it was dark in there. And that made me think of that when this is complete. It will have
Able to
very
look
good
out
glass
over it.
all the way
Yeah.
around. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. So I hope it helps us.
I do too. Well, we'll forego the motion, but let's move on to library updates.
I signed some warrants for some new books and DVD and audiobooks, so there'll be some new things coming out. If you're not on connected with their website, you might want to check on that every so often, because the page puts a lot of information there.
Okay. And we'll go to legal updates for nuisance properties.
I've got a couple of legal updates, Mayor. Something the chief talked about a little bit. I forwarded to Pat, and I believe you, draft ordinances that were written by the municipal league. And their purpose is essentially to kind of get the city as prepared as they could be for the impending July 1 date when it will be legal to have medicinal marijuana, and the ordinances address kind of how we regulate that to the extent we can from a zoning perspective, and then from a permitting perspective. The phrase in the law for a lot of other things is kind of suitable person or suitable entity and suitable location. So I think the next meeting, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a plan on, a recommendation on what the city needs to do. The intent is to have the ordinances in place by July 1 so that we can encounter a scenario where somebody has expended money or has bought a property to run a dispensary or something like that, and then we're trying to figure out how we regulate that, and they say, well, I'm grandfathered in because I purchased it. Certainly not trying to stop anybody from doing that here, I don't think we can, but having our ducks in a row if and when medicinal marijuana comes to town. So we'll deal with that a little bit more next meeting. As far as the nuisance properties, I've endeavored to contact the firm that represents Mr. Clausen. I haven't gotten a response back yet. I will again follow up this week, and I'll be in touch with the mayor and Pat if and when I hear anything. And then finally, Banner, I already touched on that, but I hope to have our position with Banner finalized. Tanya's been very patient and understanding, and Trevor Lightfield from Fisher Rounds has got me some language that he thinks would be good for our insurance carrier to have in there, so I hope to have that finalized. And then just so you folks know, I will next week be out of pocket for a trial, and it looks like I will be gone late May to late June for some other work. But Mr. Freeberg or my dad or Brenda Ask would be happy to help you guys. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me.
So Sam, regarding this, so we're actually creating a new zone then?
No, I don't. I have to review the ordinances to see. I can't remember. One of them, I think, does allow a new zone, but there are several different options.
So, because they gave us these steps, so,
Yes.
and if I'm supposed to do a public hearing, I normally identify the property with a sign. So how do I do that?
So just so we're clear, you're talking about for a medical marijuana dispensary, medical marijuana growing house, whatever is gonna eventually happen. Folks, it's not happening tomorrow. But if this goes through, we're trying to prepare for what's coming, so.
Yep. So one of them, for example, Pat, I think to answer your question, one of them is to establish licensing criteria, and then the other one would give us the power to enact zoning, would basically enact a zoning ordinance to say where they could and couldn't be within reason. So I don't know if I'm.
Well, part of the steps that they outlined were to set up a public hearing. And like I said, normally if there's a public hearing, I post the property, but do I just post out here?
No, you won't. When you say post the property, you mean put a post on the property that's gonna be
I have
discussed?
a sign, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
no.
doing a zoning change.
No, that would not be necessary because there's not an actual piece of property that we're gonna
Correct.
change the zoning on. The hearing on the zoning ordinance would merely be so that the public could come in, hear us discuss the ordinance, ask questions about what it would do, ask questions about how a dispensary could be cited within the city.
Okay,
And so we're not discussing a specific change for a specific person. It's just a newfangled thing that we're gonna figure out how we can ensure that it meets city zoning requirements, if one comes to town.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're talking about, I think, is if I said, I want to put a dispensary in the shed behind my house, then we would have to post that says, this is gonna happen here, and then there would be a public hearing that says, is it acceptable or not? And
Correct.
obviously, 15 feet from the school would not be acceptable. so-
Correct, yeah.
so I don't need to follow these steps that were outlined.
Not necessarily, no.
Not
We should
yet.
be- we should be able to, pass these ordinances pursuant to emergency powers.
Okay.
So there will be some notice requirements, but it'll be truncated compared to the normal way we would pass an ordinance. Which again, I will talk with you and Deb about it before we do anything.
Well, I would need to get it to the paper
Yep.
for, so,
We've got time on the clock between now and July 1st.
so it's not happening, the public hearing is not happening at May 17th.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. But if that changes, Pat, you'll be the first to know. You'll probably know by tomorrow.
Or at least by May 16th,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Do we need executive session
I
for
don't believe so.
legal counsel? Okay. And the Christmas lights in the city park discussion, I think that's kind of a moot point, correct?
Southeastern took them down for us.
Okay. So they've been removed. Is there a plan to put them up at a given time for Christmas?
plan.
Or okay. No plan as of now, so. Alcester Fairgrounds water leak. So we had, the chairman, I think it's the chairman of the county board that contacted me, and they said that there is a substantial water leak on the fairgrounds drop. What he was under the impression was it was their responsibility to pay to repair it, but he said, we lease that property, it's really the city's property. So the city being the owner, I think we are responsible for repairing it. Unfortunately, it's $7,000 to $10,000
Correct.
worth of repairs. So, the unfortunate part about that is they're kind of gearing up to use it more and more and more and more. Right now, they have a wrench that they can shut off the water and keep it shut off, so it's shut off most of the time, but when they use it, they turn it on, it leaks, they shut it off, and then obviously it doesn't leak. But that's not gonna cut it. So, the discussion part of this is what we just had. That's the bad news, and it's not really gonna get any better, except for something's gotta be done about that water leak. So,
So the only time they use the water is during the fairgrounds?
No, shooting sports now,
used to be that.
shooting sports.
Yeah, it used to be only during the fair season, and then we could, it's still wasted water, but it was not $7,000 to $10,000 worth of water over a long period of time, so now they're gonna be using it more frequently.
This was never an issue before because shooting sports was in the auditorium.
Mhm.
And they go from January through April, twice a week, Thursday nights and Sunday afternoons. We have known there's a leak there, but we didn't know where the leak is. And I had watermen come, and we don't exactly know where the lines are, because the lines were too old, they don't have a tracer wire on them, so we can't locate them. So we have a tentative plan about what we would do, but that is the bill.
So I would say brace yourself for a $10,000 bill to fix the problem. But once the problem is fixed, obviously there would be tracers mean, the new line would have this tracer capability, so we'd be
Is
able
it
to
only
see.
in the building, in the bigger? or what?
No,
I think it's-
the water meter is in the trees by the railroad tracks.
Oh,
And then there's a hydrant in the main exhibit hall.
Yeah,
There's a hydrant down by the cattle building or the sheep building, so we're assuming it's some sort of a triangular type connection.
because there's water, like.
And there's water at the
rabbits.
lion's den.
There's water, yeah, there's water probably in every building.
So we don't know which line
it's leaking.
It's
is the
leaking.
problem.
There's the problem.
So,
So there isn't a big water spot? You just know you're losing water,
excessive water, yes.
and but it's not showing up
You're
anywhere
not
as a
seeing
wet spot.
It's hard to believe.
Well, like I said, it's usually not been an issue because the only time we usually ever have it on is the 4 days of the fair. And that property is a little bit unique in the fact that, yes, the city owns the property, but we don't own the buildings. So,
Yeah.
So we lease it to them.
but we get no
We're not-
money,
We are really the owner of the property, so.
but we're not the owner of the building. And we, when you say lease, we get no money for that.
I-
Mr. Mayor, may
I
I
just
say
think
something?
about what it would be like if I leased from the city. So,
Mr.
no,
Mayor?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're
This-
gonna limit that, so,
This had to do with the commissioners, so,
it's irrelevant. So,
no.
you've got the information regarding the leak, you've got the information regarding the fair. I'm not saying we have to make a plan to do something right now, but we do need to think about this in the not-too-distant future. In fact, the commissioner told me it's not urgent, meaning it doesn't need to be done in the next week, but it does need to be done. Something needs to be done to fix that leak, so
The other,
You think they'd ever split it?
well, that would, if we
possibly.
want to do that, I mean, that would be a suggestion.
Since they own the building,
Yep,
we own
I
it.
think we have the right
And they,
to tell
and they
them,
use it.
they're going to use it, yes.
we have the right to tell them whatever we want to tell them. It's our property. We could actually tell them, get your buildings off of our property if you really want to, and then we're gonna lose the fair.
That's right.
So that's my point. Do we want to lose the fair, or do we want to take care of these people? So, the point that I'm making is we've got to look at this from a broader perspective and deal with it appropriately. So, that's the discussion portion of it. Does anybody have any other questions?
Are these metal lines?
No, unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say that.
I do not know.
I think if they were, they could trace them better.
There are forms of ultrasound and radar that could easily, at least would eliminate that process of having to locate where these pipes are. If we
Right.
could locate the pipes and then just dig down, if it just came down to sweating in a piece of pipe, I mean, that'd save a lot of money, but if they're not metal pipes, I don't know.
You know, the only other problem is we don't know where it's actually leaking.
Exactly.
Between point
Right.
A and B, C and D.
And we don't exactly know where the pipes are.
Exactly.
We did an aerial and we identified where the hydrants are and where we have water. And then we, Waterman and myself, just kind of estimated that it makes kind of a triangular type look.
And he quoted from 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll, I'm sure, address that in coming meetings. We'll move on to number 10, lifeguards. Motion to hire pool managers, WSI lifeguards, and rates at rates presented.
So you do have a sheet in your packets breaking down our co-managers, WSI guards, and lifeguards. We do have some new guards this year, which we're very excited about, and to also have a couple of young men be lifeguards, we're very excited about, so. So in looking at our 2020 rate, and then also looking at where we felt comfortable being on the 2021 rate, this was our recommendations to the council. So we do have 2 guards coming in from Canton, Carly Lewison and Kelly Johnson.
How much should they get paid at other places? Do you have any idea?
We did not ask.
But, you know, because Sioux Falls has been advertised, they're having a terrible time getting lifeguards. So I think, you know, we better make sure we get these, keep these.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. I mean, we're getting those guards from Canton because they won't have a pool this
Oh,
year.
they're not gonna have it again?
Yeah, they might not even open
I know.
some pools in Sioux
Mhm.
Falls because they can't get guards.
Wow.
So yeah, we do feel very blessed to have 8.
Yeah.
Maybe they could bust them down.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, do you need a motion?
I do.
I'll make a motion to hire the pool managers, WSI lifeguards, and lifeguards as the rates presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm gonna put Cindy,
Yep.
is it
CY?
CYNDI?
Yes.
Peoples. Okay, excuse me, motion was made by Dave and seconded by Cindy to hire the pool managers, WSI lifeguards, at the rates presented on the sheet that you were given, to include Bailey Peterson, Carly Lewison, Maddie Hawk,
Hey,
Peyton Meyer, Kelly Johnson, Michael Cast, Mateo Kleinhans, and Kaylee Thompson. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Wow. Do we need executive session for personnel? Hearing none. We will move to item 12, finance officer updates.
We had our audit, and I was talking with Pat Cass today. He's gonna talk to the firemen, but I think that we will be looking to do flushing of the hydrants in May. So I'll get the advertising out on that. And then he's also gonna coordinate with Jeff Nohava and the lifeguards, and we'll do a life-saving drill or kind of a session with the guards once the pool gets open. He is thinking that might be the second week in June. So June 14th.
Speaking of Jeff Nahaba, there was an email that came out that basically stated that there was going to be money available. Have no idea how much, have no idea what we're going to be allowed to even try to obtain, but chances are we could get some money to help our EMS program here in Alcester.
Is that the one that we got the flyer on? Is that what you're talking about? Is that to help with that
No,
cost?
that thing that you just got in the mail,
Yes.
the EMS department basically just is appealing for
Okay.
any help, financial help.
Okay.
I mean, donate $10, $20,
Okay.
$1,000.
Okay.
I think some of this other stuff, Linda, is probably gonna be
For equipment?
is gonna be coming from the COVID relief.
The Fed,
Oh, the
yep,
COVID
it's a
relief,
Fed
okay.
thing. Yep. Okay, well then we'll go on to malt beverage licenses, Quick Stop, Total Stop, and Alcester Golf Course. And we need a motion to approve those. One thing that you need to be aware of is that the Alcester Golf Course license includes the new facility. So it's basically in preparation for moving from the existing clubhouse to the new clubhouse, so.
We're not just gonna transfer the license from one place?
No, as a matter of fact, we'd have to pay for that. If we do that now, and we just include both properties, both physical properties, we don't have to pay extra. So, that's a good question. That was the question I had right up front, so. And once I asked it, they said, let's check it out, and they came back with, yeah, let's do it now, so. I would need a motion to agree on those malt beverage licenses.
I'll make the motion to approve the 2021-2022 malt beverage license and allow Mayor Hayter to sign the alcohol purchase agreements.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Linda and seconded by Darla to approve the 2021 to 2022 malt beverage license for the Alcester Quick Stop, Total Stop, Alcester Golf Course to include the new location and allow me to sign the alcohol purchase agreements. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. How do you vote?
Aye.
Opposed? All yes. Motion to approve the finance officer attending the Midwest Assistance Program class in Watertown, June 22nd, 2021.
I'd make a motion to approve our finance officer attending the Midwest Assistance Program class in Watertown on June 22 of 2021.
I'll second it.
Second. Motion was made by Dave and seconded by Darla to approve the finance officer attending, I should say, finance officer Patty Jerns attending Midwest Assistance Program class, Watertown, in June 22nd, 2021. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All yes. Reminders, the graduation is this coming Saturday, the 8th. Mother's Day is the next day, the 9th. Last day of school is the 12th. And garbage collection route returns to normal May 17th.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question about that.
Yes,
Will there be a news release in the paper about that?
good question. Probably should be. Something that says,
And if there is, I guess I would like to suggest that it included a note that if you would like the garbage truck to only go down your street once, you might want to continue with the spring locations.
that's a good point. Maybe we want to have a dialogue with the entire city that says, you know, it might be an inconvenience, but it's a heck of a lot less inconvenience than it is to pay for $110,000 per block street maintenance. So,
I guess I thought maybe if there was some interested people that didn't want their street tore up a little extra by 2 trips with the heavy garbage truck. We're doing that on our block ever since we started.
Yeah, our block does the same.
Yeah, it happens, I mean, it's year round. It's all on one side of the street, so.
Okay, so on my street where I'm at, there's only 3 people that have trash can, well, there's 4, I guess, actually, but, so I'm the only one really that would have to take mine. So how would I go, I just want to take it over there anyway, just to
I
help
can
out.
tell you, if you put them side by side, if you put 4
I just
of
put
them
it
side
over
by
there,
side, he's gonna just come and pick them up, and he's gonna just,
Should be pleased.
he's
All right,
gonna be
then,
whistling the
yeah,
whole
that's-
way. But if
I
you put
just-
them here, 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 and here, then
Yeah,
he's gonna come up, pick up 3, and then go around and turn around and
Yeah.
come back and drive on your street again
yeah.
with a heavy truck
That's
full of garbage.
ridiculous. I mean, it's easier for
Exactly.
me just to put it on the other side.
And I guess I was just hoping, you know, if we were gonna have a news release, maybe we could just put a little note in there that, you know,
Yeah,
help the streets
Yeah.
stay nicer or
Yeah.
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you would,
Cut down on your tax liability by keeping your garbage cans all together.
Yeah, it is, I mean, I'm the only one really affected, so it's easier for me just to cross.
I mean, we might as well reduce it to money.
I agree.
That's the only thing
Yeah,
that
yep,
people understand,
exactly,
so.
exactly.
thank you for that. It's just my-
Yes. So, library book study, that's what you mentioned, right? May 17th. Memorial Day is May 31st, and the office will be closed, and the pool opening is June 1st, depending upon how cold it gets between now and then. So, re-evaluation of Resolution 2021-03, and I think that's in your packet there.
No, I didn't copy it this time. It was last time.
It's not here, okay. Face coverings, oh yes. So we're all wearing these masks. I don't know about you, but I've been fully vaccinated, and at Custom Coils, it never was required, but it was strongly suggested to wear face masks. So those people that took strongly suggested to mean it's a pretty good idea because the boss says you should wear a face mask, they wore them. Those people that really didn't care didn't. But we have an edict that says face masks are required in the city buildings. I've been fully vaccinated. I'll tell you what, you can take that sign down. I'm gonna wear this every single time I'm in this building. But that's my choice. That's not your edict that says to me, I have to wear this. So, the question is, do we want to keep a mask mandate, for lack of a better word, a mask requirement, a mask suggestion, or do we just want to say, I mean, I've seen stores in Sioux Falls that say masks are,
strongly recommended.
yeah, there's another word, I can't remember what word they had at one place. And I thought, that's a good idea. Mask requested, that was it, masks requested. I mean, hey, if you want to wear a mask, great. If you don't, I don't know, maybe you're gonna kill me. Maybe you're gonna kill yourself. I don't know. Nobody knows. What do we do?
I guess I'd like to ask Pat and Wanda, are they comfortable having people come in here without a mask on?
Yes.
100%.
The other city facility is the garage, and half the time the doors are open and they're out in the
Almost,
open doing stuff, so
almost outside.
what happens at your work?
Oh, we've got, I think, 2 of the welders that I see wear masks. Aside from that, nobody does. That worked out nicely.
Yeah.
That's a seg, that's a seg.
Yeah, appropriate. Well, and again, just because, I mean, you can come in here without it. I'm gonna wear it. That doesn't mean I'm saying to you, you should be wearing your mask. I'm saying I'm gonna wear my mask. That's all I'm saying. So, in my opinion, we could remove all the requirements and just leave it as strongly suggested, or mask requested, if that's a good word.
I think we should change it, because it's getting to the point where.
It's getting old.
A lot of people have the vaccine,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I don't think it's gonna be that much of a hazard to open up our facilities.
Okay, we are reevaluating this resolution that was made, and we would need a motion to change the resolution. What are your thoughts?
I think that, I personally think that if you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, if you've been vaccinated, I mean, I've been vaccinated, I've had antibodies, because I'm high risk. I have 4 things against me. And I've already had it, I had the infusion, so I wouldn't get hospitalized. And then I got vaccinated.
What more can you do? I mean, sooner or later, you just gotta roll the dice.
And when I wear a mask, I feel like I can't, I'm not wearing, because this, to me in here, it's really hot,
Yeah,
and I
it's
clean in
hot.
here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't, if I wear it over my nose, I'm like, I start getting so hot and sweaty. I'm like,
Yeah,
so, I mean,
well,
I get people don't, I mean, I understand there are people that want to wear their masks, and I accept that and I stay back.
in all honesty, I wouldn't wear it, but my wife says I will, so I'm gonna. So.
Are things changing at your work?
We don't have to wear them in our office or
Own
cubicle, but
location.
we still do have to wear them in the hallway. But our centers
We only wear
now,
ours if somebody comes in with one on, the rest of us, otherwise we don't.
yeah. I think you should just have them available. You know, like, don't
If
put them
somebody-
away, put them in the drawer.
No,
But
if
have
somebody,
them still, there. Like tonight, I forgot mine. I said to Wanda, do you have a mask? I forgot.
I'm sorry.
You okay?
Yep.
If it's just breathing and swallowing at the
Yeah.
same time.
I guess I like the suggestion that the mayor has about change the resolution to masks are
Requested.
requested.
Okay,
Sam
well,
has to write that up, or can we just,
can we modify the
I think we'll just
existing?
make an amendment to this resolution and change that wording,
okay,
and I will publish it in the minutes.
So we need a motion for the same.
I'll make a motion that we change resolution 2021-03, face covering requirements, to mask requested, not required, and the effective date, I think we do it June 1st, because it'll be published by then, won't it?
It'll be published next week. The only reason I put that effective date in there is
That's when it
that
is.
particular resolution is set to expire on June
Expire.
30th.
So we can make it effective.
You can make it effective immediately if you would like, or effective upon publication.
Okay, so the rest of my motion is effective date will be upon publication.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion to modify the 2021-03 face coverings requirement resolution to state that masks are simply requested, and the effective date would be upon publication of this new resolution, 2021-03. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. HRC update, the only thing I can tell you is that we are going to have a meeting. I have heard a number of times from the chairman or the president that a meeting is coming. I don't know when it will be, but I do know that now there's a little bit of urgency, probably not over urgent, because even these two lots that we were just discussing earlier and on the Beck Drive, excuse me, Beck Drive location, there, it's gonna be next fall, or this fall, that they'll purchase, and next spring probably, before they turn some dirt, so. That's the only thing I can tell you about the HRC.
What lot numbers were those?
10 and 11.
Thank you.
So then we'll go on to the Fair Board update.
Well, nothing's really changed since the last meeting. We have a meeting tomorrow night. We'll find out for sure.
No new information on the bull riding, huh?
Yeah, well, we decided, all right.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Alcester Community Building update. Well, I got kind of an impromptu update the other day from some people that had gone and looked it over, and I got to admit, I was kind of jealous. I wish I would have gone and done the same thing, but I have not had the opportunity to do so yet, but it's evidently quite impressive. I know from experience that they've done an awful lot of street demolishing and dirt work, and it's, I mean, it's good. They've got it all pretty much sealed up now, so hopefully.
It's very exciting. If you do go on the grounds, the foundations, or the footings are poured for the deck. So all the way on the north and all the way on the east. So now you can get an idea of where the deck will be. And honestly, the view up from the terrace to the football field is gonna be tremendous. It's
We
really
went over there. It is nice.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be pretty cool. Yeah.
so, and the car shed has windows, glass windows.
Glass windows, yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I think that they stuck with the width of the doors because of tractors, et cetera, right? Yeah, so that's probably wise. After I look at that every day, I keep thinking, you know, those are big holes, but I don't know.
That siding on the cart shed is interesting. It has no visible fasteners.
Seems,
It's a little different. It's not your regular steel siding building.
well, evidently there's some kitchen equipment that we're looking at, and we need to hear more about that.
We're getting close to needing to order the kitchen equipment. Now, for some things, there's a 6 to 8 week delay getting stuff. So we've been discussing this with our restaurant consultant, and I think Pat and I have had meetings with him a couple times, and I think we pretty much nailed things down, right? So we need to order, so we would like to get a motion to approve spending up to $75,000. Our previous motion was $20,000 to buy some used stuff, and Darla and I went up and we found a couple things that might need instead of used, which may be better in the long run.
Right. Well, I don't know exactly what equipment that is, but what was the amount that we originally talked about for
20.
kitchen equipment? No, I mean,
Oh,
I mean,
It was 125,000 from the architect's bid.
so we looked at up to 20, obviously didn't spend that. This would make it 95, up to 95.
No,
Obviously, we're not.
We spent, of that 20, we spent about $3,000.
So we're talking 78,000 of the 125,000 that was originally earmarked for kitchen equipment.
Will this get us everything or almost everything?
No, I'd say this is gonna get us what we need.
Oh, okay.
Was the 75,000 mark, was that quoted traditionally from a supplier? Or where did that number originate?
The 125,000 came from a kitchen coordinator that the architects hired.
Okay,
So they spec'd out all the equipment.
okay. I only ask because with my job, I deal with steel pricing, and most of your stuff's gonna be food grade stainless. And stainless right now is just absolutely through the roof. And I
Through the
didn't
roof,
know
yeah.
with the numbers that they quoted us, what the terms were on that, how long that quote was good, especially with the way steel is fluctuating.
So this is from a manufacturer in the city,
Okay.
SFS.
So we would need a motion to approve the purchase of the kitchen equipment up to $75,000.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the kitchen equipment for the Alcester Community Building, spending up to $75,000.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Darla and seconded by Brian to approve the purchase of kitchen equipment, spending up to $75,000 for the Alcester Community Building. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I guess. Updating volunteer roster. Quite a list here. Motion to add Josh Nyreen, Nick Broughton, Miles Weck to the Alcester Fire Department, Cosette Heeman, Emmon to Alcester Library Board, Warren Grant Doty to Pleasant Hill Cemetery, remove Lucas Dreesen and Ben Solom from Alcester Fire Department, Tom Glass from the Alcester HRC, and Pam Hughes from the Alcester Library Board. I would need that to be in a motion. You need not read all those names.
I motion to do all that stuff.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion was made by Brian and seconded by Cindy to update the volunteer roster for workers' compensation according to the information in 16.A on this agenda. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All approved? All in favor, I should say, and the motion is approved, and we now just need a motion for adjournment.
A motion to adjourn council.
Oh,
Mr. Mayor, if we talked about a picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could we take just a few minutes and walk over here by the flag, the new council,
Right.
and get a picture, please?
Everybody on the new council.
Yep. Yeah, we don't have our lawyer here. Do you want to come and be
No,
involved?
I'm good, thanks.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
I looked like a little shrimp the last time. I think I stood by the cave and it's like, oh.
Thanks, Miles.
And I was on my tiptoes. Here's the first one. One. More. 1, 2, and 3. All right, thank you very much.
Wait. All right, well, now we move on to item 17, adjournment.
So Cindy, I don't know.
Cindy
Motion to adjourn council?
made the motion. We have a second. Ryan? And is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 9:07 PM. Well, I apologize for how long it took, but it always is a little longer with two councils, et cetera.